Hi, I'm Eileen Roche, and welcome to today's broadcast of Between Friends. I'm delighted to be here with you today, and I really appreciate you and your time joining us for this afternoon's broadcast. We're going to be talking all about hooping options for jean jackets because they can really present some challenges. And I have an expert who's going to join me and share in all these tips and tricks for hooping jackets. So let's welcome in Joanne Banko of Let's Go Sew. Hi,
Hello.
Joanne.
Hi, Eileen. Thanks for having me today. Hi, everybody. So
Oh,
happy
it's
to
so
be
nice to
here.
have you here. It's always great to have you here.
Aw, thanks. It's great to be here.
Shall we tell them what we've just been through?
Yeah, we've been through.
Yeah, literally up to 1 minute before live, we thought, oh, we're going to have to reschedule. We've had lots of internet connection issues, but everything seems to be flowing just fine now. So
Good.
fingers crossed, it will continue,
We
right?
are good now. Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Everybody's here, so we're here too, and we're ready to have some stitching
yeah.
fun.
Well, we have lots of people piping in. We have Diana Mullins Atkinson and Lottie Conrad and Julie Steffenhagen from Michigan, Gail from Florida. We have Becky Thompson of Power Tools with Threads. Nice to have you here, Becky. And let's see, Consuelo watching from Texas. We love that. Isn't it great to see everyone from
Oh,
all over the
it
country?
is. It's so
Yeah.
wonderful. I can never get over how wonderful it is for us these days to
Yeah.
have these sewing get-togethers with so many people from so many places and different time zones,
Right.
and it's amazing.
Oh, and look who else is in the house. Irene Wilcoxon from
Irene.
Embroidery Garden. Thanks for joining us today. It's so nice to have you here. And we have Rita Young from Australia, the other side of the planet. Love
Wow,
that. Right?
that is great. Thanks for coming,
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah. So, we're going to talk about some of the challenges that people have when hooping jackets, and they're so popular. They're pretty easy to find a plain denim jacket.
Mhm.
And, it's often something that is just calling to you to add embroidery to, right?
Yep, I say that a blank denim jacket is begging for embroidery.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you were here last time on October 14th, we discussed quite a bit about the denim jackets and your collection, which is Just Jackets by Joanne Banko. And you talked about fabric selecting, well, first selecting the blanks
Right,
and then
right.
fabrics. You kind of have a preference for batiks.
That makes they just work really well because you can find them in so many different colors and
Yeah.
shades, and you can pick on the actual piece of fabric itself. You can fussy cut basically
Right.
where you want your applique to be, and some
Right.
areas are darker, lighter, some different color mixes. So every time you use a batik, it's a little bit different. But I had a lot of fun, playing with some other fabrics too, and we talked about stretch fabrics even and how to stabilize those. So, it's good to refer back to that replay, and everybody can get all the nitty gritty on all the fabrics.
Awesome. Yeah. And you had great tips for, prepping the fabrics too. So, and that rebroadcast is still available to you here in Facebook Live and YouTube. You just look for the October 14th Just Jackets with Joanne Banko, and you can find that and watch the replay for sure.
That's right.
So, you wanted to kind of talk about assembling your supplies for the jacket. So, you want to go ahead and take over with that?
Sure, sure. Well, first of all, okay, we said fabric. You need fabric. You need your blanks. And again, I really encourage you to watch that previous show because we went into a lot of detail. You need stabilizer. Now, we're going to be working with some special hoops today, but stabilizer is still a key ingredient in your embroidery recipe. So you want to make sure that pardon me, the phone call there because we were on the phone before, and I had to keep it close here.
Right.
We were going back to make sure we were going live, right?
Right.
So pardon that. But stabilizer, obviously, right, Eileen, it's a key ingredient.
Yes.
It's your number one pick. And for me personally, most of the jackets that I've been working with have a stretch factor to it. And, that's so common in so many of our garments today. I mean, you look at the jacket I'm wearing and it doesn't even look like it could possibly stretch, but it sure does. So that just gives you that extra movement. But when I work on stretch fabrics, any type of stretch fabric, I'm going to select a fusible no-show mesh in all likelihood. So that would be my ingredient that I've used mostly. Now the fusible mesh is a little bit of a light. It's technically like a cutaway. But it fuses, so it's kind of a temporary cutaway. You fuse it temporarily, and then do your embroidery, and then when you're done, you can peel it back and you can trim away or cut away the excess. But because this is a little bit on the light side, I like to use 2 layers. So I will actually fuse the first layer to my garment, to the wrong side, obviously, and then I'll cut a second layer and I'll fuse that on top. So I'm kind of getting a cross between a lighter cutaway and a heavier cutaway. I'm kind of making it my own medium. So that works really, really well for me. Of course, threads, you need to pick your threads. I've got my whole collection of the exquisite dime thread. And Eileen and I had a little fun giggling over this because Eileen's got all her spools standing up. Yep. I have all mine standing on their heads. And I just, you know what? I put all my spools away that way. That's just the way it seems like, I have an easier time finding that little hole than I do the big hole. So I just pop it right on.
That's so cute. Yeah. And there's no right or wrong way, right? I like to place it with the cap, the snap cap down so that I can read the number, because there's a number of the thread on the top. Yeah. And so that's why I like it. Of course, we all select first by color, right, Joanne?
Absolutely. Yeah.
You can see that whether the spool is up or down, but doesn't matter.
Yeah. That's the beauty of creating things is, we all kind of have our own little ways of doing it. But I'm a big believer in you can never have too many spools of thread. So I wonder if anybody agrees with me out there. I'd like to see a comment on that for sure.
Yeah. Well, we did have a question. Let's see. Okay. Anita Tenenbaum, she would love to see the iron-on mesh. It's actually no-show mesh in black, so it blends on dark items. Okay, I think that that's a great idea. We appreciate that. And then Cindy King, she wondered, do you have a specific recommendation of fabric for the Rose collection? Now, in Joanne's Just Jackets collection, there's actually 3 mini collections. One is the Rose. Joanne and I are each wearing that. Mm-hmm. On the jean jacket behind her is the Folk Art collection, and then there's also a Stars collection. So getting back to Cindy's question, do you have a specific fabric that you like for the Rose collection?
Again, it's anything you like, Cindy. I know Cindy's already embroidered some jackets with her collection. She was maybe one of the first ones to get it. She was so excited about it and has already sent me some great pictures. So I appreciate those, Cindy.
That's awesome.
It really just depends on the look that you're looking for. Batik, I think, is a nice kind of basic because it's not a flat cotton, color. Mm-hmm. It has a little bit more life to it. So think about flowers in real life. Realistically, they would have some different shading to the different petals. So that's one of the reasons I like it. But you could also choose, I know Ashley Jones, she used velveteen for her roses. I think you're going to show us a little peek of that.
I am.
You could use, anything really like that. I'm going to show you a rose in a little bit that I've done with something completely off the map as far as normal, standard, ordinary. So we can talk about that a little bit too. But shiny fabrics or flat matte fabrics, whatever you prefer.
Okay, so Janet Roche, she wants to know that's her philosophy too about having threads by color family, and then she asks, does thread go bad? So I'll answer that because thread does not go bad. It doesn't have a shelf life. The only thing that harms thread is sunlight. You can even store it in heat, like in a hot garage in the summertime. It won't harm your thread, but what will harm it is sunlight. So just make sure you keep it out of the sun and you don't have to worry about the age of your thread. Now, in chat rooms, you may hear, oh, put it in the freezer and all that. Doesn't do anything to it. Really, it doesn't. Thread from Minnesota in a garage, thread from Texas in a garage, same thing. Doesn't make any difference as long as they're out of the sunlight. Yeah. Okay. So what should we start with next? Why don't I show these adorable samples from Ashley Jones? Ashley Jones is our lead educator here at Dime. I love what she did with that rose spray on the striped shirt. Isn't that fun, Joanne?
It's so beautiful. She is so creative, so artistic. I love everything she does.
I do too. Let's remember, when you're going to put embroidery on a patterned fabric, you have to pay attention to the scale. So you want to make sure that the scale is not so close together, meaning the scale of the print and the scale of the embroidery design, that you can't distinguish one from the other. So this stripe is, I would say like a medium-sized stripe, but because it's solid black is a fairly fine line. It really doesn't, interfere with that pretty floral spray. So that's something to keep in mind. Color, of course, can also separate an embroidery from a printed fabric. So just be careful when you're doing that. But look at the crossbody bag.
I'm telling you that, that just shows how versatile this collection really is, because it's called Just Jackets, but you've heard me say, don't think just jackets, it's jackets and so much more, because these designs will work on so many projects.
Oh, that's awesome. I know. I love that. Really, really well done. And then we have some samples from Cindy King. We found these out on the web by searching for #DimeSewAlong. So any dime project that you're doing, whether you're using our Small Town Charms or a sticky hoop, a snap hoop monster, or just jackets, this is the way to tag it on social media, and then we'll find it. But didn't she do a beautiful job, Joanne?
They're absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
They're absolutely gorgeous. And Cindy did send me a few other pictures. She made them for several of her family members, and they all wore them together to a special event, and they just looked really, really, really beautiful in those jackets.
Yeah. And, I want to call out how she used the blues. Blue on denim is really hard to do. Often whatever color blue you select gets, washed out on the denim. But she went with a really light blue. And then that medium tone pops. She did a great job on that. Really, really lovely.
Yeah, she sure did.
Yeah. So Cindy King says, thank you. Well, it's well-deserved. It's really beautiful. So I want to give a call out to Linda Marshall, because she took a class with you many years ago at the Bayou University in Baton Rouge. And she just wanted to say, you are as nice in person as you are on air.
Thank you, Linda. I appreciate that more than you'll ever imagine. Thank you.
Yeah. And it's true. Joanne is just the quintessential professional. Okay. And here is Genevieve Sews. She also is using that folklore mini collection that's in the Just Jackets collection. Oh, I love that.
Look how those colors.
I'm pretty sure she's using a sticky hoop, right?
Sure looks like it. Those colors just pop on there. That's the other fun thing about applique and then mixing it with all your different thread colors is you can bring it to life on whatever color garment that you're putting it on.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So I showed how to hoop on a sticky hoop with a denim jacket. Now, my denim jacket happens to be beige, but you'll get the gist. So let's go ahead and watch that video. I have my sticky hoop lined up under POW. All points of the laser are hitting the 0. And then I'm going to take my jacket and drop that underneath the laser, aligning the template's crosshair with the laser's crosshair. And I just push the jacket down to the sticky. I want to make sure that everything is flat.
And then we're going to get the body of the garment up on top so that when I transport to the machine, everything is smooth. Now I'll go ahead and I'll remove my pin because I won't need that anymore. And I'll just center the needle right over that target's template.
Target sticker. I was stumbling on my words there for sure. But you know, when I transport it to the machine, I take the board that comes with sticky hoop and I place that underneath my hoop. Yeah, there you go, Joanne.
Yep,
Thank you for holding that up.
I saved
And
mine.
it's just a great carrier to hold your project as you transfer to the machine for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah. So once we're hooped and we go to the machine, then what, Joanne?
Well, we are ready then to position it. So, you know, I like to just mention a little bit the tools that you were showing, Eileen. You know, we probably all know somebody that has a garage full of tools or, you know, a shop full of tools. And sometimes we don't think about how many different things we really could benefit from in the tool end. So I loved, you know, the way that you showed using the pail, because that really makes it just so streamlined when you're working with that sticky hoop or with the snap hoops as well. So I really like using that combination. So once we've got that, you know, that template on the jacket and you're ready to, you know, take it to the machine, your pal is going to bring you really close to, you know, that perfect target. But let's face it, sometimes we move things around a little bit or we get things just a little bit off. With the PAL, I love the fact that it really forces you to have everything perpendicular and parallel. And as long as you are perpendicular and parallel in your hoop, you can adjust for any little offness that you might have. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my camera that I have on the machine. Do that real quick. And I will show you then how I actually tweak that a little bit. So hopefully that should be coming up. Let's see. There we go. All right. So I'm going to scoot this just a little bit. And I actually did the exact same thing that you did, Eileen. I had already put my template on, and we need to make sure we talk about the templates too, because that's part of the recipe. And then I have one more ingredient in that recipe I want to make sure I talk about, and that's the Fuse Me for doing the applique. But once I'm on the machine, I have got the ability on, you know, virtually any machine to do some movement or some, you know, adjustment. So ideally, I want to have, I'm going to move this over just so you can see what I have on the machine. Okay. Ideally, we want to have that template right zeroed in to so that the point of the needle is directly in the crosshairs from that template. So you don't need to do this necessarily unless your machine, you know, doesn't have the laser light. I have a laser light on here, and hopefully you can see that just poking out there a little bit. But if you don't, then you can certainly take and turn your needle down. I would recommend that you do as I say, not as I'm doing. And what do I mean by that? I would recommend that you do this before you thread your needle, because if you have your needle threaded and you turn your needle down, and then you go to stitch, your machine is likely to holler at you. We all, you know, we love the way our machines tell us what to do, but sometimes it's like, oh, you know, what did I do wrong this time? Your machine doesn't like it when your needle is partially down. It's hard to get that all the way up. So if I didn't have my needle threaded, I'm going to go ahead and pull my thread out here really quick. Then all I would need to do is go needle up, needle down, and that would put it back into position. Then I could thread it and stitch with it. But you can see that I am targeted right in the exact point of the center. Now, if I go to my screen again, right here, I'm going to zoom out a little. You can see I have got what we call a trial feature. And when we touch that trial feature, I've got it already selected for the center, but I could also go to the top of the design, or in this case, it's, you know, it's the top of the length of the design, or the bottom. and then I can go to those same points on the opposite, again, we're parallel here and perpendicular here. And I'm going to swing over again, and you can see that my light is pointing directly to that point. That tells me that I've got this perfectly placed, and I could go and I could actually, send my light or send my, my hoop movement so that I could check that position with my needle, like you saw me do before, and make sure the needle sinks in right here, right here, right here, right here. I don't need to worry about these angle marks for this. But if I do that, then I know that I am targeted perfectly. Now, you might have a machine that's got lots of toots and whistles. I am privileged as a brother ambassador to be able to use the Luminaire machine. So we've got other features on the Luminaire. We've got a projector. We've got a camera scan. We've got other ways to make sure we pinpoint that design correctly. But what I love about templates is that it really is something that works for every single embroidery person out there, regardless of your machine. And Eileen, I think you and I probably share this. I'm going to go ahead and flip back to my regular camera. I think you and I pretty much share the opinion that we are big time template users. Right?
Right. From day one. I mean, we used to use copy paper, we use transparencies, all kinds of things. But today, you and I both like the print and stick Target template paper because it's translucent, it's sticky, so it stays on the garment as you hoop, maneuver, all that.
Exactly.
Right. You don't have to worry about it flopping around.
The other thing is, like I said, I love things that work for everybody. I mean, obviously when I, do certain lessons or certain projects, I might feature a certain machine, but I always try to provide options and make people aware that really no matter what machine you're using, there is still a big world of embroidery that you can, take advantage of. And templates, like I said, work for everybody. Even if you had a projector, that projector isn't going to show you the entire embroidery design. And a template is just a foolproof way to audition your design. Maybe you're working with a jacket and you've got several ideas for what you might want to put on that jacket back. I don't know about you, but I never sit down and say, oh, I know exactly what I want to do, and I'm just going to do that. I'm usually playing, and you'll see I played a little bit in the Patch and Applique Maker software for this particular project. But I'm usually, I don't usually know until the last minute, and then something just kind of clicks and feels right. But with the templates, you can literally stick those anywhere you want and print out a variety, and then do a trial, put it on a dress form, or try it on in front of the mirror. Even if you just hang it on a hanger, whatever works for you. So
absolutely. So Judy, she had a really good comment, and actually I was just about to mention this. So she says she has a Luminaire and she stopped using templates, however, but after this explanation, maybe she'll go back and use them. Here's what I would tell you about using the scanner on a project like a denim jacket, just like Joanne just showed you. So when you have a patient and you're transporting the patient in the hospital, right? They always strap them in, don't they? Because think about it. If you're laying on a chaise lounge, you're really comfortable. Somebody picks up that chaise lounge, moves you around. Now you're not so comfortable. Same thing with that jacket. It's stuck on the sticky, but when that scanner starts to scan, the arms can get caught and so forth. So, scanner's great for some things. I use the scanner when I'm hooped, either with a snap hoop monster or a standard embroidery hoop. I don't use it with sticky because, it's just stuck on the bottom, right?
I like to say there's a tool for every task, and there's a feature for every situation. So I'm a big believer in knowing all of those, and then, trying them all out and saying, well, this worked really well when I did this on that. And then you repeat that, it's like embroider, stitch, repeat.
Right, exactly. So we had some questions. What's the difference between sticky hoop and snap hoop monster? So let's take a look at the overhead cam, right?
Sure, let's do that.
The overhead cam? Yeah. Okay, so here is sticky hoop. And I just want you to see that it is a flat metal bottom. it has no protective suede on the back of the hoop. And the protective suede is on all of our monster hoops. And, you know, it's there for a reason, right? It's going to protect you, the machine bed. Also, it doesn't come with a top. Everything else is the same. So can you use your snap hoop monster as a sticky? I would tell you, do not attach it to the back. You will mar that suede and ruin it. And then you won't be able, you know, to protect your hoop, or your machine bed when using a snap hoop monster. But you can hoop sticky stabilizer and score it just like you would in a standard embroidery hoop. So that's the real difference. I can tell you, I love having a designated sticky hoop. I don't clean them on the back. I just, you know, it's my sticky hoop, right? I layer my tearaway my adhesive tearaway stabilizer. I layer it on the back, and then I patch them. And here, I'll show you that in just a second. I have
for me
a hoop here that I
like
had previously used. Thank you.
Like a no muss, no fuss.
I had I already used the first sheet. And so now you can see it's patched, correct? You see that double-sided or that solid white line? That's just another layer of stabilizer. And we always patch from the back, never from the top. So I just lay a larger piece of that adhesive tearaway over the back of the opening, and then make sure I use my protective paper, shiny side. I place that down, and then I just smooth all of that so that it is adhering to the back of kind of the frame, right? The frame of stabilizer. And I'll do that, you know, maybe the next time I use this hoop, I'm only going to do a 4x4 monogram over here. So I'll do a smaller patch. Eventually, I may want to peel the whole thing off. And I can do that if, you know, I could use Goo Gone to remove whatever residue is left on the metal frame, but frankly, I just layer over it. I mean, that's its only function, is to be a sticky hoop. So be it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you want to do a jacket back, now, Joanne had shown I'm going to slide this off for a second. Joanne had shown the yoke embroidery, right, up here above the shoulder blades. But if you're doing a large jacket back, you may want to use Snap Hoop Monster, because that's going to give you a nice solid firm. You could also use sticky, but I just thought I would show you how you most certainly can do that in the sticky. And then I also want to introduce you to our latest new product. I'm so excited about this. All of you, I'm sure, if you have a Snap Hoop Monster, you are familiar with Hoop Guard, right? So Hoop Guard is a small barricade that snaps onto the magnetic frame and holds a onesie open so that my sewing field is exposed under the needle and I don't have to worry about it flopping over. It just holds that back. We've also used Hoop Guard for terry cloth towels to stop the roll from falling into the sewing field, and also quilting. Well, after listening to many of you ask on large hoops, should you use 2 hoop guards? My answer used to be yes. And then I learned you can lose some magnetism of, the frame if you have 2 hoop guards. So I designed a jumbo hoop guard that's extra wide, but it only has the same size foot that attaches underneath the frame. So that just slides in place, and then that will keep the roll from, sliding into my fabric roll from sliding into the sewing field. And this this jumbo hoop guard will work on any hoop that's larger than a 5x7. So let's take a look at some of the ones that I have here. I have a lot of hoops here. I have the 8x8. Look at that. That's a nice snug fit, right? Almost edge to edge. And then I have the 9.5 by 9.5. Also a really nice fit. And even on that giant 10 by 16, you get a really good hold where the hoop guard is creating a barricade after over 2/3 of that sewing field. That's perfect. So if you own a snap hoop monster, you absolutely need to get this new jumbo hoop guard. I'm just thrilled with it. You know, I invented this summer, and I've been waiting and waiting and waiting for it to get here. But oh my, I love that. Just love that.
That works.
It's really going to be a game changer, don't you think, Joanne?
Absolutely. And, you know, I just have to say, just the way I feel about thread, I feel about hoops. If you saw I keep my hoops in a basket, all standing up, but I'm a girl that believes you can never have too many hoops. So, you know, that once you have those tools again, then you can say, well, what's going to work better for this project? What's easier?
Right.
What's more streamlined? And, you know, you got to have those on hand when you need them. So, but that new hoop guard is phenomenal.
I know, we're so excited about it.
Covers all the bases.
Yeah, and it's very reasonable. $24.99. It's on special this week, so you get free shipping, which is just awesome. And I'm just loving that new jumbo hoop guard. And you only need one, right? You only need one for the hoop that you're using that minute. Like Joanne, we each have all the sizes of the hoops. But, you know, I only have one of those hoops attached to my machine at a time. So I don't need a jumbo hoop guard for every hoop that I own. I would tell you that you probably need a regular not jumbo, but a regular hoop guard, the original size, because that's going to be really great on your 4x4s, your 5x7s, your 120s by 120, you know, for Viking and so forth. But anything bigger than that, you're probably going to want that jumbo hoop guard. Yeah.
And we're definitely hooping different sizes of different things, all different times. There were a couple questions that flew in that I just want to address that while you were doing that. A couple that I caught. One was where do you get the templates from? And we could talk about that in just a minute. But another one that's really important that I want to address is you saw me talk about my my personal stabilizer choice that I've used on all these jackets so far. Remember that if you're using a sticky hoop, that doesn't replace your stabilizer. That is acting as a holding power for your fabric and your garment and your stabilizer that you've already attached. So that's why I like using the fusible, or if you don't, if you have the non-fusible one, then you can use sticky spray. But you want that stabilizer thoroughly secured to the garment before you put it in the sticky hoop, and then that sticky hoop's just going to hold everything really, really nicely in place. So it's not a substitute. It can enhance it, because it almost acts like another layer of tearaway. Wouldn't you agree, Eileen?
Sure. And depending on your project, actually, it can just be the stabilizer, but it depends on your project.
You're right. You're right. If it's already stable, that's why we add stabilizer when we don't have a stable surface, for sure. And then templates, maybe we can both talk about that. For one thing, you have designed a new applique software that the Just Jackets pairs really, really well with, and that is the Patch and Applique Maker software. And the design that I used on my jacket and that you showed with your template as well was actually created with the Patch and Applique software. It's this one right here.
Very nice. Look at that.
It's going to be a little hard for you to tell what that rose is made out of, but I'm going to hold up a piece of fabric that hopefully shows up a little better, and let's see if anybody can guess. I'll give you 2 seconds, then I'll tell you what it is. It's lace. It is white polyester lace, and I used the Fuse Me, which we'll talk about that too, the Fuse Me, to attach that lace to just a simple layer of satin, and I used that for my applique fabric. And other than it's a little hard to see. Oh, unfortunately.
Well, when you tilted it, yes, we can see the dimension there. We most certainly can see the satin stitching. The white on white is a little hard to see the lace detail, but we can see the embroidery design.
That is the dime metallic thread. So that is, another one of my favorite.
Oh, the silver King Star.
Yes.
Beautiful.
So that's what I use. So again, totally out of the box, something a little bit different. With the Patch and Applique Maker software, I'm able to go in and pull pieces and parts from the embroidery collection and change sizes, mix and match. And then this is actually a special feature that is in the software that allows you to create different layouts. You can create scattered layouts. You can create circular layouts. I know when we meet again in December, we're going to show more of that software. So software
Absolutely.
is your go-to for printing templates. And then Dime also provides a free software program that you can get started with, and that's the Embroidery Toolshed. So maybe you want to tell them a little bit more about that wonderful program, Eileen.
Sure. Well, the Embroidery Toolshed is a free software, embroidery software for basic functions: sizing, printing templates, copy and pasting, merging designs. And it's very easy to use. And in fact, all Dime software is housed in Embroidery Toolshed. So if you download Embroidery Toolshed from our website you can see it on the ticker there. It's free. So you just install it on your computer, and then you always have a sizing and template making software that you have access to 24/7 on your own computer. You don't need internet access to use it, once it's downloaded and installed. But and when Joanne comes back, because she's going to come back on December 16th, going to have a fun meeting then. So I hope you'll join us, and we'll get a little bit more into, designing with software, and how she comes up with her beautiful merge designs that really fill a space. And we have some great tricks on how to make sure that it does fill a space just perfectly. I think you're really going to love that. And let's see. Oh, Anita Tannenbaum, she uses Embroidery Toolshed all the time for templates, and she loves it. Oh, I'm happy to hear that. It is great. And Sue Brown, you have the Patch and Applique Maker. So, and if you don't know Sue Brown, she's our friend from OML Embroidery.
Yes.
And we love Sue Brown and the whole OML gang. They love to do all things Dime and all things other embroidery designers too. So we're just thrilled to work with them. It's always so fun. So we did have some questions about PAL. So I thought we would kind of just touch on that.
Yeah.
So we have an image of PAL that will pop up there in a second. But PAL is an acronym for Perfect Alignment Laser. And PAL 2 is the one that I was just showing. So as you can see, it clamps to a table. It plugs into the wall, or it can plug into a USB port. So if you want it near your machine and you have a USB port on your machine, you could use that. It illuminates a crosshair at a right angle. One line red and the other line crossing at 90 degrees red. And we use it for how we showed you today, hooping square, and just dropping your item that's been marked with either a template or a target sticker, and making sure that it's then square in the hoop. We also use it for continuous embroidery, and we'll be talking about that in upcoming broadcasts. But that allows you to make sure that if you're doing a long border, that border stays straight, right, Joanne? Nothing like having a straight border and then it goes off like
that is critical.
Yeah, it is critical. So it's just, and it's part of what I call my hooping throne. At home in my studio, I have my Dime hooping mat, that blue mat that you often see us hooping on here. And I have my PAL 2 positioned over top of it, centered all the time. And so when I'm ready to hoop, I put my bottom frame down, turn on the PAL, align, and it's just makes it so fast. Absolutely.
I got to say this. One of the things I love about the Dime products is because you have invented them all, they all marry well together. So, a lot of times when, we've got things from different places and it's like, well, can I use this with that? Everything completely matches up and just makes every task easier. So
awesome.
Like the embroidery tool shed.
Yeah.
You can't beat free. You download that.
Yeah.
And then anything and everything that you add to it, whether it's, the Just Jackets collection or the Patch and Applique software, everything again just goes right into that, and it's all in one place, and you're just able to utilize all of it within that one software window. So it's a great place to start.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, once you become familiar with a platform like that, an operating system, software system, then it's easy to use other programs that are offered by that company. And I can also tell you, when you have Embroidery Tool Shed installed on your computer and you open the screen, and down in the right little corner, you'll see a shopping cart. And if you click on that, it will show you a list of all Dime software. And you can click on any one and go in and play with any one of them. You won't be able to save a design because you haven't purchased it, but you can play and, try before you buy. So that's kind of fun for sure.
It's like going to the candy store and getting a chocolate sample.
Right. That's right. And, it's all of our software is Mac compatible. So don't have to worry about that if you're a Mac user.
That's a big
Ranky, she had a question. She said her table doesn't have a lip in order to attach PAL 2 to. And so two solutions for that. One is you can attach it to our totally tubular hooping station. It was designed to accommodate PAL. So you most certainly could, if you have the totally tubular hooping station, just attach your PAL 2 to that and then you're good to go. Or you can, we also have PAL 1, which is a smaller device, same laser head, but it has a gooseneck lamp. And so it doesn't get as long of a beam because it's short. So I would suggest to you, if that's your only option, then you can use PAL 1, just elevate it, put it on a box, a stack of books, something like that, and that will give you the longer beam.
Yeah,
so
great idea.
Either one. Yeah, either one. Okay, let's see. Retha's downloading it right now. And Diana Mulling, she does use My Lace Maker. We didn't even talk about that, but that's her favorite software, and she uses it to design lace for bridal veils. And I know she does that for, people pay her to do that, which is really quite cool. Let's see.
Software just expands your possibilities. So no matter what machine you have, it's almost like upgrading your machine when you add software, because now there are so many more things that you can do in the software. And the other thing I love is everything's ready. Then when you get to the machine, you're done. You're good to go.
Right. No more guessing. No more.
That.
Oh, why didn't I size that? Why didn't I mirror image it? Make it smaller, make it larger. So frustrating. So Natalie had a question. She said she has snap hoop monsters, but she's also wondering if the hoop guard works on traditional hoops. Well, not these hoop guards, because these hoop guards are metal. And their lip underneath, slides and attaches to a magnetic frame. We do have hoop guards for standard embroidery machines. So you can find that on our website. They're different. I don't have one here to show you at this moment, but we most certainly could do that in a future broadcast. But they're plastic and flexible so that they can form to the sides of a standard embroidery hoop, which is not perfectly square or rectangular. So I think you'll enjoy them also. And then Carolyn Auber says her 830 is 10 years old, and we do have hoops for your 830. So over on the DZG&S website, there's a compatibility chart. You can just go into the, search for hoops, and you'll find all your information there. Use the drop-down menus under your machine brand to locate which ones would fit your machine. So, Natalie found them. So that's good. All right.
Can I go backwards just for a minute? Because I want to make sure that I didn't forget to explain this. The Fuse Me is the Dime product for making any fabric stick permanently fusible. It's totally, just a very, very fine, lightweight webbing. So when I wanted to layer these two pieces together, my lace and my thin satin, this was my absolute go-to choice, because any other fusible would have been too heavy and would have made this thicker and stiffer. So I use the Fuse Me for that. And then I use the Fuse Me for all of my applique fabrics that I'm putting on the, when I'm doing the actual applique for the jacket collection. So in this particular case, I used Fuse Me twice. I used it to fuse these two layers together. And then I also used it when I fused, when I created that applique piece, so that now that I'm done with this, it's permanently fused. And then I'll just mention one other, like, what is this fabric that I have it on? It's felt. And I saw way back at the beginning, somebody said they were going to do a denim jacket that was black. And my jacket that I showed on the machine actually is a washed black. You might not be able to notice that, but felt is one of my favorite things to test designs on. So I didn't really have to test this because I had a template. I knew the size was going to be perfect. But believe it or not, I actually have fun stitching out these samples because embroidery just is always fascinating to watch. And that also allowed me then to test out a little bit of a different fabric choice. So don't be afraid to experiment.
Okay, so we had a question from Wino Goldman. So she doesn't know what magnetic hoop she has, so she's wondering if the jumbo hoop guard will fit. So this is a 4x4 frame. And here you can see I have the jumbo hoop guard attached, and it extends off the edges. Can you use it? Sure. Yeah, there's no harm in it, as long as all you're trying to do is control a roll, right? Like a roll of terry cloth or a roll of a quilt sandwich. But the smaller hoop guard is what you would use on a 4x4 to hoop a onesie and open up that sewing field. So can't go wrong with either one. Yeah.
Exactly.
So let's see. Joanne, is there just, yes, there is one hoop guard in the jumbo hoop guard in the package because, yeah, they just come one, just like the smaller hoop guard comes one. Now, in the standard hoop guard, where they're plastic, there's actually 4 in the container, and that's because we advise you to use 2 standard hoop guards at a time, unlike a monster hoop guard where you only use one. And also, they're flexible because they're plastic and flexible. They need to conform to your hoop. So we don't imagine that they will last 20 years. I mean, they're going to last 5, but anyway, we just figured it would be best to put 4 in a package. And also, if you're doing multiple hoopings, it's nice to be able to have one hoop all set on the machine and stitching, and another set ready to go on your other hoop if you're doing like a second onesie. It's not really necessary in a magnetic hoop because, you hoop so fast. Let's see. Okay. Oh, Cindy King, she always does a stitch out of all of her designs first. Wow.
You can't go wrong that way. I would say I do it a good 90% of the time.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
I enjoy, watching the machine stitch and those samples, you can end up using them for all kinds of different things. When I make smaller ones, I use them for greeting cards and,
right.
It's just, there's always something you could do with that sample.
Yeah. So take the time to select the right colors. I sometimes test designs and I just go with whatever's on like my 10 needle. I won't even pay attention. I'll just let it rip because, I'm checking maybe satin width or the length of a run stitch or making sure the placement guide is in the right location, that kind of thing. But I've learned if you take the time to select the right colors, you can probably use that test stitch out, right, Joanne? Like you said.
Absolutely. Yeah. Retha says machine embroidery is addicting. It is. Yes. Mm-hmm. Jan has heard me say this over and over again. It's always best to test. Test
it is. Right. And Retha, she wants to do a wall hanging with all of her stitch outs someday.
That's a great idea. That is a great idea.
I don't know. A lot of them, I don't want to look at them again. If they were really mistakes, right? If they were really needed a lot of work, and I've been down that road for sure. So you have done such a fabulous job. Everybody loves being with you, Joanne. Hey, do you love being with Joanne? Should we have Joanne back? Give us a thumbs up. Let us know in the comments. We're definitely going to have her on December 16th, but would you like to see her in January? Let us know for sure.
It's always a joy to be here. And you know me, I've always got more and more and more I'd love to share with the audience. Yeah. So sewing friends are always good to be gathered together.
Absolutely. So let's see. So Small Town Charms, next week is Thanksgiving here in the US. So we're going to do the Small Town Charm reveal on Tuesday, November 23rd at 1 p.m. Same time, just a different day. And if you're not familiar with the Small Town Charms, this is a program that's been going on all year. It's a free design every month. And it comes in two sizes, 5x7 and 7x12. In January, we did the quilt shop, then the bake shop, the dress shop, the flower shop. We went outside to the outdoor cafe in May and a 2-story town hall. And then home of the giant scoop was July, a gazebo in August. And then September was the book nook, October, a haunted house. And finally, November was the Pampered Pets, the pet store. And so if you're familiar with the Small Town Charms, maybe you know that our friends over at OML Embroidery have a sew-along on YouTube the first Sunday or the first Saturday following the reveal. Our reveal is always the last Thursday of the month at 1 o'clock. And then 2 days later, Sue Brown leads the OML gang with the sew-along. So this week, it's going to be a short week, right? We're going to have the reveal on November 23rd. So that'll wrap it up for the year. Now, if you like the Small Town Charms and you're behind on the Small Town Charms, download them before the end of December because they will go back in the vault and they won't be on the website anymore. So make sure you grab them while you can. And I think you'll enjoy them. We've had an awful lot of fun with the Small Town Charms. And most certainly, I have to give credit to Sue Brown and all of her participation in the OML gang because they really kind of lead the pack with that. Super fun.
Yeah. Sue has definitely spread the word on those and got everybody's creative juices flowing for sure.
Yeah, I know. It's really
been
fun.
So much fun to see all of the variations that you've shown week after week after week.
Isn't it amazing what people have learned, how they've stretched their skills? I love it. It's really cool.
And every time you come out with a new one, I think that's my favorite one. But then the next one comes and then that's my favorite one.
I feel the same way. I feel the same way. So let's see. Next week we'll be here on the 23rd. And then in 2022, we're going to have a whole new program and we'll debut that as we get closer to 2022. So thank you so much for joining me today, Joanne, and all of you for watching. It was just great to have you here.
Thank you so much. It was a joy to be here. I'll be looking forward to seeing you again soon. Happy sewing.